Hello, everybody. Welcome to Terrifying Tuesday, when we talk about all things horror. Now, we have a couple things to talk about. Legendary Films is doing some reboots of a few things. They are doing a reboot of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, they are doing a reboot of Urban Legend, and they are doing a reboot of I Know What You Did Last Summer. So, let's talk about it. All right. So, Legendary Pictures had a deal with Warner Brothers. Then the whole isolation happened. And after that, they parted ways from each other. This was due to the fact that Godzilla vs. King Kong was released in theaters the same day it was released on streaming. And this hurt them, they feel like, and understandably so. So they took their toys and they went home. And where they ended up going was Sony. And Sony, was okay with the fact that they had a deal with Netflix before this as well. They kind of had a deal with a few different people. However, Sony now wants to take more active roles, I guess, in what they're putting out. And because of this, they are doing a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. Now, I'm kind of on the fence about whether or not we need a Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot. I like the movies because when they're good, they're good. But you also have to realize that doing that many reboots does saturate the market. It does saturate how much excitement that movie's garnering. A lot of people were okay with the first reboot they did, and then they did another one shortly thereafter, and then there was the beginning and another beginning, and then you had this latest one that took place and ignored everything after the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Which, if you know me on my channel, I always say that lazy writing is when you can't go from where you currently are. You have to be able to take a project from where it is to wherever you need it to go. And a lot of times I do feel that putting a project out where you just ignore everything that came before it, not only is it jarring to fans, it makes them miss and have this nostalgia for the original versions of this story, but it kind of puts them in this predicament where some of them, being completionists of a movie trilogy or a movie series in itself, can't really watch it or appreciate it anymore because they can't watch all of them without some sort of jumping around to make them all the same world, all the same story. And with a lot of slasher films, this is the norm, unfortunately. We saw it with Friday the 13th, and we saw it with A Nightmare on Elm Street, and we saw it with the Halloween franchise, where they just wanted to pretend like some things don't exist. Now, the horror movies aren't the only ones that do this. Currently, DC is in the whole reboot or sort of, let's take a new look at some things. So they're rebooting some projects and keeping others, it appears. Well, this sort of thing is jarring to fans, and I understand why fans get mad. But that being said, that's not the only one that they actually are doing. As I previously reported on this channel, they are doing also an I Know What You Did Last Summer requel, if you will. It's going to be a reboot, but not really, because it's going to take place after the events of the other movies. At least most of them. And it's going to have some of the original stars coming back to reprise their roles. And that's kind of the way you should be doing it. Scream did it this way, and I feel that worked better than some of the things that I've seen them do in the past. But wait, that's not all, because in addition to those two projects, they also have another project that they're going to be bringing back, and that is Urban Legend. Now, you could say what you want about the Urban Legend movies. However, They were kind of fun to watch at times. They made some interesting kill choices in the movie, being that it was all based on different urban legends, and seeing what urban legends they used was the most entertaining part of those movies for me. So the idea that they could be rebooting it, I would hope if they reboot it, we don't get necessarily the same kills we got before. I would want them to do something completely drastically different. I'm not really up for them doing this one the same way, unless they keep the older movies canon and then they just kind of go from there. But with this particular movie, does it really matter if they do? The urban legend movie, I'm going to say it really doesn't matter to me if we go with a complete reboot where none of the characters have existed ever, or whether they go, okay, the first movie existed, but the rest didn't. And, I don't know what they decide to do there. But with that movie in particular, the sky's the limit as to what they could be doing with it anyway. So the idea that they would reboot it and maybe do something completely different isn't all that horrible. Out of all of these movies, that's probably the one that I might be the most excited for. Although I do want to see what they do with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, and I am down for the new I Know What You Did Last Summer movie. The fact that they're going to be rebooting Urban Legend really might be more exciting. Because think of it, if they do it sort of like a Final Destination type of thing, except with a serial killer who's killing people in the ways of urban legends. Now, it might be funnier if they kind of are doing this in a way where the friends are getting murdered, but each one of them is doing something wrong. Make it a little bit more Saw-like. I mean, the idea that they could do it sort of like Final Destination is appealing. I just don't know how they pull that off. It'd be kind of jarring to think of it as being this evil entity or supernatural type of thing killing them in the ways of urban legends. It almost has to be an actual person. So I think the way to go with this, if they should reboot it, is maybe a little bit more Saw-like. Maybe they've all done something wrong and therefore they're taken out in this way just because of the person's obsession with urban legends. That might be cool. That was kind of the overarching thing with the first one, kind of. They were studying urban legends, so the killer actually started killing people in the ways of urban legends, and it all just kind of fell into place. Doing it like that doesn't hurt it. So I want to know what you guys think about any of these movies. Are you excited to see them? Which one excites you the most? Alright, so don't forget to leave us a comment in the comment box below. And don't forget to share this video with all of your friends so that they can be a part of the conversation as well. And then friends, don't forget to hit that like button. It helps the channel and we appreciate it. And it's free. Then Miko says we need more subscribers, and you don't want to disappoint Miko. So let's go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And while you're down there, go ahead and hit that notification bell as well so you don't miss a single video we do. And friends, at the end of the day, I know it, you know it, Miko knows it. Fandom is family.